Peace. Peace to the gods and the earth. Peace to all the positive people in the universe. You know what I mean? Peace to, everybody out there that's becoming conscious, and everybody out there that's been conscious and have been striving for perfection through their righteousness. You know what I mean? Because every day we striving to become greater and more perfected in ourselves. Developing in our higher self. More so than relegating to our lower self. And what I mean by the higher and the lower self is like, the desires in yourself that are more selfish and are not like more to the whole. And we know self-preservation is the first law of nature. You know what I'm saying? But however, we are to understand the equality of nature as far as like the ecosystem, you know what I mean? Ecology, you know what I mean? And how we all have a contribution to, like you look at the animal kingdom and you see that perfectly manifested, you know what I'm saying? But however, we have, I guess you could say, higher senses than animals, so we have the ability to manipulate the laws of nature more so than animals. Animals like kind of got specific purposes, they carry them out and they do what they do. But we have a more of a multiplicity and a divine nature, so we are more supreme in our abilities, or so we would think, as us being man, woman, and child. Animals might think they're more supreme than us, you know what I'm saying, in their mentality. But however, we all have a contribution. We all have a universal equality. We all have a purpose and a reason for being. So, the science of life and the purpose of life as you strive, and I think I see it as is to, you want to figure out what your purpose is. And once you figure that out, then you could be more productive and how you want to project yourself in life, how you want to lead yourself in life, the things that you want to do in life will be more clearer because you realize what it is that you're here to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why, like KRS-One dropped a jewel one time. He said, when you lose your job, that's when you find your true self, or you find your purpose. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So even like for the parents, the older parents that may be retired, it's not like life ain't over now. You ain't just got to sit down on the couch and let your bones get all rusty and your joints get all, pained up and all that, get all arthritis. You can still be active. You can still be out there. You might have more time to do spiritual works, being that you ain't got to punch that clock 9 to 5 no more. You know what I'm saying? So life is not over, when you're not working on that 9 to 5, you have time to do more spiritual works because you have more time for introspective thinking, introspective analyzation, and looking into self. Because like as it says in Luke chapter 17 verse 21, for the kingdom of heaven is within you. So for all those religious people out there, you know what I'm saying, look that up in the Bible. And Psalm chapter 82 verse 7, part of Self 82 verse 6, and I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. All of you, not just Jesus, all of you, not just Adam, all of you, not just Abraham, all of you, not just Jacob, all of you are children of the Most High. See what I'm saying? So, and ye are gods. So, and concording that to Genesis 1:26, when it says, and God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. Let him have dominion over the earth, over fowl of the sea, the fish of the air, and everything that creep upon the earth, over the beasts of the field as well. And then it goes on to say, male, an image of God made he them, male and female made he them. So that goes to show you that there's a masculine and a feminine image and likeness of God. So you can't take the woman out the equation. Like, they talk about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Well, the Holy Ghost must be a woman because the Father can't have a son without a woman. You know what I'm saying? That's some gay shit. If the Holy Spirit, if God is a spirit, so called, right, and the Holy Spirit is a man, then that's some gay shit. How the God gonna have the Father do the Holy Spirit? That's a trend. That's supposed to be the Trinity, right? You know what I'm saying? So like, how that's nah, that ain't right in his act. So you see how they took the woman out of the equation. You know what I'm saying? And now you see why there's an imbalance in the family. And then as they also took the woman out of the equation, and how it says in the Bible that the woman not supposed to speak in the church, and then but yet you got all these women going to the church, and since they can't speak and voice their opinions and da 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 da, all they could do is just hum and pray and clap, and there's no real actual God or no real actual Jesus in the church. Who are they looking to as a reverence? Oh, the Reverend. The word reverend means to be revered as a god. That's what the word reverend means, to be revered in a sense of godliness, in a sense of godlyhood. Like a father, he walks around with the white little thing on the neck piece, whatever, like, and he's revered. They look at him and respect him and so forth. He's a father. He's a divine. He's a reverend. You know what I'm saying? A reverend is one who's revered as a god. So they're looking at the reverend, the preacher man, as God, or the closest thing next to God. He's a man of God. And that man of God got all on women. But anyway, that's another thing. But I mean, that goes to show that, like, listen, man, if your woman is in a church and she's praying and clapping and yada 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 and talking about some old praise Jesus and yada yada yada, and she's looking at this preacher man as being the next man closer to God. In fact, it says in the Bible that the woman not supposed to speak in the church, but if she has any questions, she's supposed to ask her husband at home. That's what it says. So truly, I went to a Bible study one time where when I first came in there was a woman that stood up and she was asking questions and she was interpreting the Bible and so forth and that. I was like, wow, I thought the women not supposed to speak in the church. But anyway, and that man was sitting back there, and it was mostly women in the church, because you already know. And that man, so really, if you really want to get at the preacher, he's not doing the right thing, because he ain't supposed to have all them women up in that church. They're supposed to be asking a man at home. Or what, they ain't got no man? All these lonely women up in the church. And you know why that is? Because it also says in the Bible that, you're supposed to stay in the Lord and be in like a woman. Say a woman, if she's a widow or whatever, her husband died or something or whatever, da da da. They say it's like better for her to just be in the Holy Spirit. Just stay in the church and just be in the Holy Spirit. Man, part of my language, but she needs some dick too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just keeping it real. She needs some relations. You know what I'm saying? Just like it ain't right for man to be alone, it ain't right for a woman to be alone either. So, you know what I'm saying? You got to understand that. You know what I mean? Like, but according to the Bible, so you understand why we got all this confusion. Now, let's just drop it like this, right? Also, right, according to the scripture as well, it says that, God is ahead of Christ, Christ is ahead of man, man is ahead of woman, woman is ahead of the child. You got so many women out here that's like, and all that Aggie, ignorant shit. They don't respect the authority of a man. So, and first thing when a man try to exalt his authority, especially in his own household, what the woman gonna tell him? You ain't Jesus, you ain't God, or down the line she might say, or first she say, you ain't God, you ain't Jesus, or she might say, you ain't my father. And most times it's that father that she didn't even have in her life. You see what I'm saying? So that's another psychological damage that we're dealing with when it comes to that. You know what I'm saying? And religion ain't helping. It's, you know what I'm saying? It's not helping because if furthermore, if a lot of women haven't had fathers, then they tell you, okay, well, don't worry about that. Just pray to Jesus. You just need Jesus in your life. And then Jesus is some painted picture of some white man hanging on some cross who they claim died long ago, yada, 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 or came back from life and then ascended into the heavens, blah, blah, blah. And now they're praying to this, talk about have a personal relationship with Jesus. How can you have a personal relationship unless it's a person? Person. The word personal is person and al, which is a suffix meaning pertaining to. So personal meaning pertaining to a person. So if you have a personal relationship with Jesus, you have a relationship that pertains to an actual person. Where is the actual person? No, he's in my heart, and I just believe, and I have faith, and well, that's not actual. Sorry. And you can't personify that because it's not an actual person. See what I'm saying? Like, so, nah, you just can't do that. It's just not factual. Sorry if that hurts your feelings, or if you're emotional about it, or if you have so much beliefs and faith. But this is why we always drop the jewel how knowledge is superior to belief. You know what I'm saying? I always give the example. If you're waiting at the bus for, you're waiting at the bus stop for a bus, right? And you got a job interview to get to. You got something very important you need to do. You don't know what time the bus comes. Your first time taking this bus, you never really had to take it, but now you got to take it because you got this job interview, right? So anyway, you ask somebody, yo, you know what time the bus come? You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I'm trying to get this interview. I want to make sure I make it there on time. And they like, well, I believe it comes here around about maybe 11 something, 11:10, maybe 11:15. I don't know. I don't really, I'm not sure exactly. But I hope it comes though, man. I mean, I think, I have faith, man. I think he will be here, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's just pray to God and just hope that it comes. And like, all right, brother, thank you. But you in your spirit, because you know how they say worship the spirit of truth. The truth in your spirit or in your inner soul is going to tell you that, nah, you ain't rocking with that. That's not sufficient enough. That's not factual enough for you. So you're going to ask somebody else. You're going to be like, yo, excuse me, sir, excuse me, ma'am. You know what time the bus comes? So you're going to ask them. And then when they tell you, oh, yeah, you catch somebody that knows. You're like, yeah, yo, you know what I'm saying? Yo, I take this bus every day. He comes here at 11:05. He's always on time. You know what I'm saying? This guy, he's reliable. Yeah, nah, don't worry about it. Nah, he's on point. He always on point. You know what I'm saying? He leaves from down there and he comes right down here. He leaves the station, comes right down here. He be here 11:05. So now you like, okay, all right, thank you, sir. Appreciate that. So now you feeling confident. Because now you just got assured, and you're like, yeah, yo, and he like, yo, the schedule right there too. You can check the schedule. And then you look on the schedule and you like, see the schedule says 11:05. You're like, okay, damn. So the schedule even matches up with what he said. So now you got confirmation. You have proof, evidence that you know what time the bus is coming. Now we know, of course, in the event of things, something could happen. The bus could get delayed and yada yada yada. But we're talking about on average day. In the bus coming at the time that it comes. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say is that knowledge is superior to belief in the sense that now that you know what time the bus is coming, you feel more confident and now you like boom. And now you putting that thought out there like, yo, the bus is coming, you da 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 da. So you putting that all into play and it's all gonna happen universally. But however, if you had no idea when the bus comes, you don't know, so now you doubting, you're like, oh man, da da da. And you know what always happens, right? You walk away from the bus and then 2 seconds later or 1 minute later, as soon as you walk away from the damn bus, the shit comes, right? As soon as you leave the bus stop, it comes, right? You know what I mean? That's crazy. So, therefore, to know is better than having faith or belief because you have confidence and you have proof, evidence, something to stand upon. Just like right now, if I said, yo, I'm a millionaire, I'm a billionaire, matter of fact, I got millions and billions of dollars in the bank. You'd be like, yeah, right, man. Show me some bank statements. You know what I'm saying? Show me a check. Write me a check right now. Shit, you know what I'm saying? You got so much money, write me a check. You'd be like, you know what I mean? You would want some kind of proof of that, right? If someone makes such a claim, right? So if I don't produce this bank stub, or if I don't go to the bank and pull out $1 million, or if I don't, you know what I'm saying, and I don't give you some kind of proof of what I'm saying, then you're not going to believe, nor are you going to even know. If it was true, you're never going to know if it's true if I don't produce the proof. Just like when you come to court. You know what I'm saying? Why are we talking about proof so much? Because proof is very important. Just like when you go to court, right? And you go to trial, you sometimes you could end the trial earlier by putting in what they call a motion of discovery. Motion of discovery is when they have to show and prove whatever evidence they say they claiming against you. Okay, you did this, that, and the third, da, 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 da. Okay, we'll put that all into evidence. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to bring up some shit later on, you know what I'm saying, and yada, 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 because they definitely good for doing that, especially if you didn't put in a motion for discovery, then they just make up their own shit. You know what I'm saying? So you have to demand the evidence. You know what I'm saying? So once you demand the evidence and this is put into file, whatever, put into the, you know what I'm saying, the motion is put in and da 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 da. And also know that too. And when you go to court, it's all about that paperwork. You got to file what's called motions. And as far as going on the public side, if you're coming in there in your proper person and propria persona, okay, we switching the law now. Yeah, let's get into that law shit. If you're coming into the law into the court in your proper persona, you know what I'm saying, your proper person, propria persona, that means that now you're not under the jurisdiction of the court. You're now you're now dealing with your own jurisdiction and your own body politic. You know what I'm saying? Because now you have your own natural rights, universal rights, human rights, and you know, indigenous rights and things of that nature that you can now document and back you up. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and that's coming into the court on a different level. But if you're coming in you're in the straw man, you know what I'm saying, like that name that's on your all capital letters on your birth certificate or on your driver's license, because the birth certificate and driver's license, those are the instruments they use to trap us into the system, to lock us down, to basically claim us as property. They use a birth certificate as an inventory, you know what I'm saying? As you know, y'all should know by now, you know y'all up on this information. You know, it's about navigation. You know, they're navigating the seas, and what they've done is they're operating under admiralty law or maritime law. And what they've done is they've extended the law of this, which is the law of the sea. Admiral, like an admiral of a ship, at maritime, marine, water. They're using the law of the water, but they're extending that law onto the sea. Because remember, they are pirates. You see that movie, Pirates of the Caribbean, and all of that. Blah blah blah. So they are pirates, right? And they are coming now that they've taken over the land, came off the ships and onto the land. They're extending their admiralty law onto the land, which is like some bullshit, because now it's like they're navigating boats on land. But how are they doing that? Through us. Through us. By using us as property, claiming us as inventory on their docks. Just like you go to a warehouse and you got a whole bunch of stuff stocked in there in the warehouse and it all got labels on it with serial numbers and all that shit. That's us. That's what our birth certificate is. You know what I'm saying? An inventory sheet to label us as property, basically. You know what I'm saying? And if we break the laws of this so-called society that they allow us to roam so-called liberally in, we have liberation, but we don't have freedom. Liberation means certain, you know what I'm saying, freedom, certain, you know, things you can do, but it still has, you know, limitations. But freedom is no limitations. So we have liberty, but we don't have freedom. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so you want to come in your proper person so that you're not under the jurisdictions, because there's three basic things they're dealing with when you come into the court. You're dealing with jurisdiction, standing, and adjudication. And jurisdiction is juris, which means a jurisdiction, you know what I'm saying? Juris meaning to speak, diction, you know what I'm saying, is word, you know what I'm saying? And juris being the law. So the jurisdiction meaning the right to speak law, or them having the right to exercise law over you, or some type of statute or commandment. And the reason why they have these that ability is because, for one, when our parents sign the birth certificate, that's what signs us over to the state as property. And they sign on there willingly. Also, it says on there on the acknowledgement of paternity you sign in the hospital. It says on there that, you know, you're obligated to pay child support for this child. Da 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 da. Now, they do that also to lock you into the child support system, which is another system of slavery. Now, listen. For fathers that are actually taking care of their children, there should be no child support bullshit, because that's just a system perpetuated by the government, but also being that they brainwash our women repropagate the system and use it as a weapon against the men. You know what I'm saying? And usually it's out of anger. And this is what they are taught by the older mothers and aunties and, you know what I'm saying, and so forth, that don't know no better. And they was taught that same ignorance and passed it on and passed it on. Oh, girl, he left you. Oh, girl, you pregnant, right? Oh, don't worry about it. You got that seat. As soon as you have that baby, girl, you go down there to the court. You put him up for child support. You go down there to social service. You get them food stamps. You go da. Like ghetto, ignorant shit. Like fuck out of here, man. First of all, how about you tell your girlfriend or tell your homegirl get a fucking job? Okay, y'all not together. Well, you still gonna need to do what you need to do for those babies. So listen, since I ain't got no motherfucking job and all I do is sit around smoking weed, running my motherfucking mouth, and talk about other people's relationships all day, I'll take some time and watch the baby while you go to work and you do what you need to do so you can get on your feet. And if I was in the same situation, I hope you help me out with the same situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, be an actual friend instead of just talking shit and setting your homegirl up for failure. Sending her to the system, sending her on the white side of the chessboard, because that's what the black woman is doing. If you're the black queen standing next to the black king and y'all have a dispute and you run away from him and you run over to I just thought about something too. If you look at the position of the king and the queen on the chessboard, in front of the king is a pawn, and in front of the queen is a pawn. So if she's moving before she moves to that white part of the board, she has to move that pawn out the way. So you're gonna move your kids out the way or discard your children to run over to the white side to tell the white side what your black king did or whatever y'all going through and yada yada yada. Ain't that some sucker shit? That's some real coward shit. What is the black woman doing? Running down to the court. I'm gonna put him up for child support. I'm gonna like now listen, understand this. Let me just quick sidebar this real fast so I could, all the women that's on some but this niggas out there that ain't doing shit and yes. For those who actually ain't doing nothing, and not saying he's not doing something because like if you're keeping a child away from this man and he doesn't even know where you are, then how could he do anything for his child? Because you're upset and you're keeping the child away from him. Really? And the reason why a lot of times women do this because you're upset and also you don't want to admit the wrongs that you've did and you don't want to analyze yourself. And instead of you doing this to have a better relationship with the father of your child and so that your children can have a better future, you rather be selfish and stuck in your own feelings and emotions and basically just keep that child away from their father, which is stopping their spiritual and emotional development and stopping their connection to their father so that they can grow. You know what I'm saying? And you're repeating cycles. So understand that this social service shit, this court system, this child support shit, all of this shit is slavery. And all they do, they bond us from birth into this shit. So like I said, when you sign that birth certificate, when the mother signs birth certificate, father signs acknowledgement of paternity and all of that, then you just basically trap yourself to the system. But now there's also other ways you can do as far as coming in your proper person before, and you're supposed to do it ahead of time. Draw up what's called the affidavit of live birth. You know what I'm saying? And document that and have that documented in the courts and so forth and and all of that. And use that and bring that before a judge if you have to, because they always got all of this, you know what I'm saying? You just basically got to declare to them who you are, what your standing is, what your status is, what your jurisdiction is, and so forth, before they start trying to deal with their adjudications upon you. So now going back to jurisdiction, standing, and adjudication. Jurisdiction, like I said, is dealing with the right to speak law over you, or their right to speak law, you know what I'm saying? Over the person that they consider property. And the standing is how you stand before the court. So to them, if you're a 14th Amendment, 3/5 of a human being, cargo property slave in their eyes, then basically you don't have no right speaking any law. All that Constitution stuff don't apply to you. But this is how they get all tricky with it, though. See, because, right, say you go into court talking about the Constitution, they'll overlook you, oh, what are you talking about that? They'll even hold you in contempt for talking about the Constitution in the court. Word is bond. You know what I'm saying? Now, why is that? Because, for one, the true reality is that you don't have any constitutional rights, truly. You know what I'm saying? But when they about to sentence you, don't they always tell you, oh, before I sentence you, I just want to let you know, you have the right to this, you have the right to that, you have the right to that. Do you understand? Is anybody threatening you or forcing you to make this decision? Is anybody da da da? You do understand that you're giving up certain constitutional rights. That's what they always say. You realize you're giving up certain constitutional rights by pleading guilty and da 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 da, right? You know what I'm saying? So they tell you before they sentence you, not before you even start your trial and yada, yada, yada. They don't tell you, well, listen, sir, you have certain constitutional rights that you could enact before this trial begins. So we just want to make you aware of this. Like, they don't tell you up front. So it's like, but to them, ignorance of the law is no excuse. So it's like basically these 1,000,001 fucking laws and statutes they got on the books. You supposed to know all this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, really? Anyway, so like we fucking lawyers, like we read all these thick ass books, but one book we can get is a Black Laws Dictionary. A lot of people say 4th edition is real good because that's foundational. A lot of the old terms that they use in there are still in there. Some of the newer versions, they kind of switched it up, they say, or whatever. They say, because I haven't read these things myself, but I take it from credible sources like Tazi Doc, you know what I'm saying? Shalom to that brother, you know what I'm saying, who've been dropping a lot of knowledge on this particular topic. He deals a lot about common law and, sovereignty, UCCs and things of that nature. So, Truman Freeman, there's another brother be dropping jewels on that science. It's a lot of people out there, man, you know what I'm saying? Now, all that Harvey Dent stuff and all of that, I ain't get into all of that. I dibble-dabbled into it, but not as far as, like, going online and trying to do some da-da-da-da shit. Now, those accounts on Amazon, those accounts exist. Just to talk about that shit for a hot second, and we'll jump back to the law shit. But those accounts on Amazon exist. I can show you my shits up there. I got about 3 or 4 of them, I had about 12, 10 of them shits. You got 10 as a limit, but they erased some of them shits off it, a lot of shits off of there. So anyway, because truth about it is routing numbers are public information. Anybody could use routing numbers. And your Social Security is your own personal so-called private number, but it's actually given to you through the public Social Security Administration. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, however, if you tend to use that for yourself, that's your doing and your risk and you whatever you know what I'm saying, that's on you. But however, the fact of the matter is that this is my claim in court. If they ever try to say some more, oh, well, you try to use these accounts. Well, first of all, my name is on that account. It says it right there, clear as day. This, da-da-da-da. And then they got that 81, which are the last 2 digits of my social, so I know that's what it's connected to. And it just says Federal Reserve Bank. So, like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't make that shit. Like I didn't, you know what I'm saying? Talk to them. Ask them what's going on. Why is there an account and why is my name on it? So now, this is the truth about it. This is the fact of the matter. This is your defense. Identity theft. How could they ever claim you or charge you for saying you're fraudulent for using that account when you obviously have an account in my name that you're denying me access to? So why do you have access to it, but I don't have access to it? I never gave you my consent, my agreement. I never had any acknowledgement of this. Where's my signature saying that I agreed to having this account in my name? Oh, but since the truth about it is the Federal Reserve Bank, along with the MIF, the International Monetary Fund, which goes back to England and all of that shit, because, America is, London is baby London, Babylon, baby London. And, they basically the slaves for England. That's why they always got to kick back funds to England. They still doing that to this day. Ain't shit changed. So all that 4th of July, Independence Day, yada, 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 bullshit. All that was them coming here and establishing a trust and a declaration, which is the trust is the Constitution, and the declaration is the Declaration of Independence. So that's the same thing like what the Moors do when they declare their nationality or proclaim their nationality, them or like in a proclamation, Emancipation Proclamation, so to speak. The Emancipation Proclamation was written, but we had to follow up on it. That's why a lot of things didn't get surpassed the way it should have came to pass, because a lot of us didn't follow up on certain things that was passed, but the people gotta fulfill it. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of us didn't basically fulfill things that was passed as far as the Emancipation Proclamation. That's why it didn't come into full fruition. You know what I'm saying? However, but all of that 1776 Independence Day and all of that, independence for who? That's independence for them. This more brother dropped on me how the 4th of July is actually an ancient Kemetic holiday where they mark their independence or something like that, or was some type, no, excuse me, no. It was a day marking the flood of the Nile. I guess that's when like they mark a certain star rising or whatnot, and it gives that marking that the flooding of the Nile is about to take place. So that's really what that day represents. But they use that in here in America on some whatever they use it for. So, back it up. So yeah, once again, now jurisdiction, standing, and adjudication. So your standing is how you stand before the court. Do you stand as a not a, I don't really like using that term sovereign because it's connected to that whole term sovereign citizen shit, and that's some bullshit. That's an oxymoron. So I'm not on that sovereign citizen shit. So don't think that shit. I'm not. You can just push that to the side. I'm on some like proper person shit. You know what I'm saying? We all got to come back into our proper person, our appropriate persona. You know what I'm saying? And just be our natural selves. You know what I'm saying? One of the terms you could use to define it is like a natural person. Not just a person, a natural person. That term natural person meaning a person of indigenous rights, natural rights, you know what I'm saying? Living by the natural and divine laws. You know what I'm saying? That was just the creed of the universe. You know what I'm saying? Not all this fake statutes and ordinances and codes and all of that pertain to certain jurisdictions and townships. See, because they navigating on the land. That's why we under certain townships. The town of like I'm on Long Island, Suffolk County. You got like the town of Babylon, the town of Islip, the town of Brookhaven, the town of Islip. All these different towns. You know what I'm saying? Or part of townships. These are townships because we're under the township, and these are the ships. How they trying to navigate on the land. You know what I'm saying? Extending the law of the admiralty law, the law of the sea onto the land. But knowledge this, the true law of the land is really the Constitution, quote unquote. That's supposed to be the true law of the land, or more so common law. You know what I'm saying? The Constitution is the true law of the land, not admiralty law. So that's why when you go into these courtrooms and you see the judge or the magistrate, he's really called the magistrate. He's not even really actually a judge. He's a magistrate. Or a whistleblower sometimes. A whistleblower. A referee even. Some of these in family courts and stuff, a lot of judges are called whistleblowers or referees. And doesn't a referee blow the whistle on the court? Wow, because they playing games with your life. Ooh, they got the whistleblower on the court. You know what I'm saying? blowing the whistle. Ain't that something? So the referee and refereeing things, you know what I'm saying? With the black and white striped shirt on, representing prison bars, you know what I'm saying? Imprisonment. But anyway, so all of this is live, you know what I'm saying? All of this is symbolic too. I can show you a picture of how this courthouse was shaped like a boat. Look this up online. This is very important. This is something you can really look up and get some real sufficient knowledge, some stuff that could really help you in court. I mean, actual fact. It's called How to Win in Court. Just type it in on YouTube. How to Win in Court. And they're talking about these three things I'm talking about now. Jurisdiction, standing, and adjudication. Your standing in court is how they decide how they're going to adjudicate on you. You know what I'm saying? Or basically administrate their law over you or exercise their jurisdiction over you. First, they got to prove. First thing is to prove jurisdiction. That's why a lot of people come in the courtroom, they don't challenge jurisdiction. Yo, I'm challenging jurisdiction. You could go on my YouTube and see I was in the court challenging jurisdiction. You know what I'm saying? In the court, and the judge was acknowledging what I was saying. You know what I'm saying? He might have been trying to lead me on just to see, like, let me see how far this guy goes with this, like if he really knows his stuff. And I've been in there a few times where he just wanted me to just verbally exercise my shit. He wanted to see what I knew, you know what I'm saying? But I gave him enough just to let him know I know what time it is, and I put my spirit behind it just to let him know, like, yo, listen, I'm serious with this, man. Like, yo, this ain't no game. I'm not in here playing games. They in here playing games. Like I said, they got the whistleblower refereeing on the court, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? On the court blowing the whistle, you know what I'm saying? And because they playing games, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not here dealing in courtship. You see what I'm saying? Once again, dealing in courtship. They dealing with the ship because they dealing with admiralty law. The judge considers himself like an admiral of a ship. He's navigating the ship. But actually, he's actually not the navigator. He might be the one steering the wheel because he's like the wisdom. But the actual navigator is the clerk, the one that's sitting next to the judge, on the side of the judge. And sometimes the judge might have a little sidebar conversation with him and talk their little Masonic codes and shit. And you know what I'm saying? Do the knowledge when you in there, right? Because the clerk, he's the knowledge. The judge, he's the wisdom. And you are the understanding. Let me put that in legal terms for you, because they're dealing in trust law as well when you're in the court. Knowledge this. The clerk, being that he got that birth certificate and that driver's license or that New York State or that whatever state you in ID over you, so he got the jurisdiction over you. Once you go in there, acknowledge this, right? Dealing with jurisdiction. You got different forms of jurisdiction. You got to be mindful of all these things. When I come in the courtroom, I tell them, listen, I'm not the all capital letter name that you have on your papers up there on your judge, on your desk, Your Honor. I talk to the judge real. Like, listen, it is what it is. You're not going to silence me. You know what I'm saying? Because if I come here to speak, I have a right to defend myself, and I'm letting you know that I'm going to do that. I'm not one of these suck-ass niggas just going to sit back and let you determine my life. No, it's not going down like that. If I could at least speak, then that's what I'm going to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm not coming here to go to war with y'all. I mean, you got the bailiff in there. You know, he got the gun and all of that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't coming here to get wild with y'all. But I'm going to come in here and flex my mental muscle. You know what I'm saying? That's what you got to do. You got to go in there and flex your mental muscle. And have that spirit and that heart behind you. Because, you know, sometimes you get afraid. You're like, damn, man, I'm going to go in here and speak this truth to this power. You know how they say speak truth to power? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you got to do. You can't be afraid. You know what I'm saying? But once you know what you know, like I said, knowledge is confidence. So once you know what you know and you secure in your knowledge, yo, watch that thing. Watch the I even drew up an affidavit based on a lot of those principles they was breaking down. Like and in that how to win in court, they was breaking down. All right, let me get to that in 1 second. After I go through jurisdiction, I'm gonna come back to standing, which is very important, right? And also not only your standing, but their standing, like the prosecution, the prosecutor, because they know how they consider you to be. When you come in there and you're in as the straw man, the all capital letter name, and you say, oh, I'm in pro se, like you don't represent yourself pro se. No, I don't represent myself pro se because I don't plan on being prosecuted. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in pro se. I'm in my propria persona, which is Latin term meaning proper person. You're in your proper person. I'm not this commercial person, which you've made a commercialized entity known as a birth certificate, and all I'm doing is answering to the corporate name and being the live instrument that you physically adjudicate upon. In other words, send my black ass to jail. Nah, it's not going down. See, because the reality is that everybody's like a clone. You got the real you and the actual physical you, the flesh and blood, the breathing, living, organic being, the vessel, the soul, which is real, which they need to come into the court because they're dealing with sorcery as well. Remember, they're dealing with sorcery. They're dealing with spirits. They're conjuring spirits. How do they do this? In fear, they pull you over, harass you, you know the usual. Racial profile, they pull you over, they do the da-da-da, pat you down, da-da-da, sit you on the side, have you waiting there, wondering what's going to happen, blah, 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 blah. And then they come and say they got nothing on you, right? The least they'll do is try to give you a ticket or something or a summons to come to court for something, right? So that summons means they're going to tell you, listen, you have to come to this court on this day, blah, 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 and, you know, yada, yada, yada. And if you don't come there could be a warrant issued for your arrest and blah, 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 blah. So, So out of fear, you take that summons and you be like, yo, damn, man, on the 25th, I gotta be to court, man. Shit, man. Like, motherfuckers, man, gave me his fucking summons, man. They said I was in the park smoking weed and shit, and, yo, they want me to come to, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Whatever. All right, man. Fuck it, man. I'm gonna just go, man. Just get the shit done with, man. I don't want to have the motherfuckers arrest me and shit. You know what I'm saying? Blah, 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 right? So you really went there, not because you wanted to, but out of the fear of what they might do to you had you not appeared, as they say, appear, see? Because they summons, this is what they're dealing with. See, now, as when you go and appear, you're coming in the flesh. You're appearing in the flesh. They summons your spirit. They summons you with a spirit of fear, and you appeared in the flesh. They dealing with magic. They made you appear. You know what I'm saying? Like, poof, pow, ping. These niggas is motherfucking magicians. Like they said, here, nigga, I'm writing you this ticket, the summons. You got to come to court on the 25th. I don't care. I don't want to hear it, nigga. Tell it to the judge. Here, there you go. You know what I'm saying? Have a nice day. And he leaves off or whatever, and then you stuck there with the summons. And not only the physical paper, but the summons of fear, the spirit of fear was planted in you. Just like the born degree, you know, they implanted fear in him when he was a little boy in the 1 to 36. You know what I'm saying? Why does he fear the devil now that he's a big man? Because the devil taught him to eat the wrong foods. And what is the wrong foods? Does that have anything to do with the above question number 10? Yes, sir. That made him other than his own self. What is his own self? His own self is a righteous Muslim. Now, when you go back to that, I know I'm getting deeper in layers, but I'm going to draw it all up because it all pertains. So then when you go into that, the above question number 10, because the 10th degree in the 1 to 36 is not actually it's an answer to the born degree. Why does he fear the devil now that he's a big man? Answer, 10th degree. Answer, because the devil taught him to eat the wrong foods. Does that knowledge degree, 11th degree, does that have anything to do with the above question number 10? Yes, that made him other than his own self. So the above question number 10 is not the 10th degree in the 1 to 36. It's actually the above question is the degree that is the question that comes before that. Because like I said, the 10th degree in the 1 to 36 is actually an answer to the question, which is the born degree or the 9th degree. Why does he fear the devil now that he's a big man? Answer, because he taught him to eat the wrong foods. So now it says, okay, yes, because that taught him to be other than his own self. What is his own self? His own self is a righteous Muslim. So when you go back to the 1 to 10, the 10th degree is what is the said birth record of nations other than Islam? Answer, Buddhism is 35,000 years old. Christianity is 551 years old. So they're more so dealing with Christianity being 551 years old because that was the wrong foods that we was fed, which made us other than our own self. What is our own self? His own self is a righteous Muslim. Now, I have evolved in my studies and so forth, so I'm not going to tell the people that we are necessarily Muslims. But however, according to the lessons, that's what was quoted by Elijah Muhammad in the lessons. You know what I'm saying? His own self is a righteous Muslim. I would more say his own self is a righteous God. But, you know what I'm saying, the Muslim lessons say, you know what I'm saying, but even within those Muslim lessons, it teaches that the original black man is God and the owner of the earth. So forth and so forth. So we do know that. Just like brothers in the Nation of Islam do know the black man is God, but they also study in the Quran, which makes them religious. So it's like kind of like they like religious gods. You know what I'm saying? But we in the Nation of God's earth, we're like mathematical gods. We know the mathematics. And just like even Elijah Muhammad taught that Islam is mathematics and mathematics is Islam. So Islam is not a religion, it's a way of life. So we study it as a science and a way of life, not as a religion, you know. But anyway, let me back it up. So we're not dealing with that fear. And, you know, they dealing with sorcery, summons you with a spirit of fear to come to the court. And then once you get to the court, they're going to say, raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, so swear to God? There's a scripture in the Bible, because remember back in the days they used to say, put your hand on the Bible. Do you swear to tell the truth? I'll be like, wait a minute. Let's open this Bible, because there's a scripture in the Bible that says that you're not supposed to make any oath. You're not supposed to make any oath. So when they tell you to raise your hand and make that swear, that's an oath. You're taking an oath. Just like the judge has taken an oath to uphold the Constitution. That's why I also see I'm up on my law shit too. Before I go to court, I go to court and I bring in a copy of I'll bring in a copy of the judge's oath of office, which is his oath of office. His oath of office is the oath that he took to uphold the Constitution. You know what I'm saying? So he's obligated to uphold the Constitution. That's why once you place that on the record, then you put it into the motion of discovery as part of your motion, then you could start holding him to the Constitution. See, this is how you get the Constitution to work for you. Because being that it does say in the Constitution that we are 3/5 of a human being, you know, that 3/5 compromise and all that shit, right? So being that we're not 3/5 of human being, we're not even considered human beings. And this is also the reason why so-called black people can't get reparations in this country, because we can't get reparations for crimes against humanity. The Jews and the Japanese, they got reparations from the United States for crimes against humanity because they're considered humans and they have a nationality. Being that so-called black people, colored people, so-called Negroes, and so-called African Americans, which all of those are social terms which have no political standing. That's why when we go into court saying, you're doing this because I'm black. Actual fact. Not necessarily. And also because your skin is melanated. You know what I'm saying? Which we call black. See, we got to understand this also, different terminologies. When you go into the courtroom, you got to understand which language you speak in. You got to speak in legalese, as they say. You got to speak in legal terminology because you got different dictionaries. You got legal dictionaries, you got medical dictionaries, you got just regular Webster, Oxford dictionaries and all that, unabridged dictionaries, which go back and show you the etymology of the words, the origin of words, which is very important. See what I'm saying? So you got different languages you speak in, scientific dictionaries. You know what I'm saying? So, which give you definition of words. You know what I'm saying? So you got to know what language you're speaking. So when you go into court, we go in there talking social language. Like, yeah, Your Honor, know what I'm saying? I was, you know what I mean? I was just chilling, you know what I'm saying? I was at the party, you know what I mean?